Caught my wife with another man on vacation. My revenge made the world applaud. The sea was quiet that night. Too quiet. Waves broke softly against the stilts of our overwater villa, the kind of luxury that pretends to mean happiness. My wife, Elise, was asleep beside me, her skin lit by moonlight. Her hair fanned across the pillow, gold against white sheets. It should have been a beautiful scene, but beauty can rot when you look long enough. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. One message, no name, just a photo, Elise, half turned toward a man I recognized, Dylan, one of my employees. His hand rested on her hip in a way that didn't belong to colleagues. Her smile was the one I used to believe was mine. No caption, no threat, just proof. I stared for a long time before locking the phone and setting it face down on the nightstand. The sound of the ocean became something else, like a pulse, steady and mocking. Elise stirred beside me, murmured my name. I didn't answer. When she turned in her sleep and her arm slid across my chest, it felt like the weight of a stranger. Something inside me didn't shatter, it froze. You never see betrayal coming. You feel it, faintly, like a shift in air pressure before a storm. But by the time you realize, the lightning's already struck. The signs had been there. The late meetings, the sudden fitness obsession, the new red lipstick. She said she wanted to feel confident again. I thought I was helping her heal. Now I saw it for what it was, a performance. The next morning, she smiled like nothing had changed, made coffee, hummed under her breath. When I looked at her, really looked, I saw every practiced detail. Her eyes moved too quickly. Her hands lingered too long in front of her phone screen. I wanted to ask, but questions give liars power, and I wasn't ready to give her anything anymore. We had 4 more days of vacation left. She thought we were here for love. I decided we were here for closure. That evening, I watched her on the beach. She posed for photos, her laughter echoing against the sea. Dylan had commented on one of her posts 2 weeks earlier. "You glow differently these days." Now I understood why. The ocean shimmered gold with sunset light, and I realized that sometimes endings don't need noise. They just need patience. I waited until she fell asleep again. Then I took her phone. Her passcode was our anniversary. Irony writes the best stories. The messages were hidden in a folder titled Work Stuff. Smart, subtle, cowardly. I scrolled. D, miss you already, still taste you. E, don't make me blush at dinner, he's right here. D, he's clueless. You're perfect. A numb calm washed over me. It's strange how the truth doesn't break you, it clarifies you. There were dates, hotel receipts, pictures. Nothing pornographic, just intimate. Hands brushing, smiles too private for daylight. Enough to tell the story. Enough to kill a marriage. I transferred everything to my laptop. Then something inside me whispered, "Not yet. Not yet." If I confronted her now, she'd cry, deny, manipulate. But I wanted more than confession. I wanted the truth to live where she couldn't bury it, with witnesses. She had made our marriage a lie in private. I would make her truth public. The plan came easily. Too easily. I invited our mutual friends and a few business partners, people who adored her, to a farewell dinner 2 nights later, a celebration before returning home. Elise clapped her hands when I told her, "That's perfect, you're finally relaxing." I smiled. "Yeah, I am." The night of the dinner, the sea was calm again. Mocking calm. I set up the terrace myself. Candles, white flowers, polished silver. She looked stunning in a red silk dress, her favorite color, and Dylan's, according to the messages. The guests arrived, laughing, toasting, smiling for photos. Even Dylan was there with his fiancée. Of course, she didn't know. He looked nervous when he saw me, but hid it behind corporate charm. "Didn't know you two were vacationing here too," he said. "Small world," I replied, pouring him wine. Dinner was exquisite. The air smelled of salt, laughter, and anticipation. Elise kept glancing at me, maybe sensing that my silence wasn't peaceful. It was precise. When the plates were cleared, I rose from my seat. Before dessert, I said, "I want to share something special. A gift." Everyone quieted. The sound of the ocean disappeared. I lifted a small remote. The white canvas behind me flickered to life. At first, a photo of Elise and me, our wedding day, smiles, promise, innocence. Then another, Elise and Dylan, same resort. Her hand on his chest, his fingers tracing her shoulder. Gasps, forks dropped. Elise froze, color draining from her face. What is this?" "Work stuff," I said softly. "Right?" I clicked again. Screenshots, messages, dates. Dylan's fiancée covered her mouth, eyes wide. Chairs scraped the floor as guests stood. Elise's voice trembled. "You went through my phone?" "I went through my life," I said, "and found you in someone else's." Tears filled her eyes, but I saw no remorse, only fear. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. Instead, I said the words I'd rehearsed in my head for nights. "This dinner is being streamed live. Board members, investors, your family, all watching." Her lips parted, but no sound came. Dylan stood up, muttering something about privacy. I looked at him, one quiet glance, and he sat back down. The silence was the kind that ends things. When I finished speaking, I walked away, left her standing beneath the string lights, mascara bleeding down her cheeks, the sea swallowing her sobs. By sunrise, the video had millions of views. Someone had recorded the stream and shared it online. Within hours, it became a headline. CEO exposes wife and colleague in viral dinner speech. Comments poured in. Cold as ice. He handled betrayal like a king. She deserved every second. I didn't respond. I didn't smile. I just watched it spread. Dylan was fired by noon. His fiancée left him on camera, mid-interview. Elise tried to issue a statement, something about private matters. The world didn't buy it. Her sponsorship deals collapsed. Her social media turned into a graveyard of pity and hate. She called me 23 times that day. I didn't answer. Her texts began as apologies, then turned to anger, then silence. In the evening, I finally sent one reply. "You built this life on lies. I just turned the lights on." That was all. I transferred ownership of the villa to my name alone. She flew home 2 days later, alone, hiding behind sunglasses too large for her face. People asked me if I felt satisfied. I didn't. Satisfaction implies emotion. What I felt was equilibrium, balance restored. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Now we're even. Weeks passed. The headlines faded. The internet found new prey. But I stayed at the villa for a while longer. Every morning I'd sit by the water and let the salt air scrape the memory of her perfume from my lungs. I replayed everything, not out of pain, but analysis. How easily love can turn to deceit. How calmly truth dismantles illusion. Elise sent one last email. No subject line. Just 4 words. "Do you still hate me?" I didn't reply. Because hate is intimacy, and she no longer deserved that. I learned that silence is the final form of power. The people who watched that dinner called it revenge, but to me it wasn't. It was accountability. I didn't destroy her. I simply let the truth speak louder than she could lie. I thought of her once more as I stood on the deck at sunset. The ocean burned orange, endless, indifferent. She used to say the sea reminded her of freedom. Now, to me, it meant cleansing. Salt that erases, wave that forgets. When the final light dipped below the horizon, I whispered her name once, quietly, just to taste the past one last time. Then I let it go. And when it left, so did she. People think revenge is about destruction. It isn't. It's about exposure. You don't ruin a liar by yelling at them. You ruin them by letting the world see what they are when the mask falls off. That night at the dinner, I didn't destroy Elise. I introduced her to herself. Now when I see my reflection in glass, I don't see the man who was betrayed. I see the man who watched the storm come, stayed calm, and waited until the wind carried the truth to shore. The world applauded because they thought I won, but there were no winners, only survivors. And survival, I've learned, is colder than love. The sea keeps no memories. Neither do I.
How could you do this?